I'm Gregory Sampson. I'm 30 years old and I'm French and Australian. My title is Associate Market Analyst. I work in the Market Analysis and Research section of the International Trade Center. I did my secondary school in Switzerland. I actually did an international baccalaureate. After this, I went on to London School of Economics to do an undergraduate degree in geography with economics. After this, I worked for 1 year, gained a bit of experience in the private sector, and then I went on to do a master's, still at the London School of Economics, in politics of the world economy. So my focus was very much, human geography, a bit of economics, and then shaping all of this with a bit of politics, international relations. My job is quite straightforward in a way, What we're trying to do here at ITC is really to help small, medium-sized enterprises to export and to export in a sustainable way. And one of the first things that you need whenever you want to export a given product is get some information, some market data. And in order to help our constituents, what we've done is over the past 10, 15 years, with the rise of the internet, we have built some market analysis tools. One of them, the most famous one, is TradeMap, and what it does is that it provides trade data. So you can be a small producer, you can be based in, let's say, Rwanda, and you're currently producing some coffee and you want to export this coffee. And with the help of the application, in just a few clicks, you can see which are the countries which may be importing your product directly from Rwanda. So we're not telling you what's the name of the actual buyer, we're just giving you the trends about the product in order to help you to focus towards which market you want to export your product. I always wanted to help people, The more I grow with age, the more I realize that you can't change the world, and just by flicking your fingers. That was always my dream, when I was doing my undergraduate degree. I thought that I could come up with this economics theory that could just change the world. And the more and more I involve and the more I see that you can have an impact, on the ground. You might not be able to change the life of 10 people, directly, but with the help of this information, you are still supporting a very large community that is highly dependent on trade. So I always wanted to help people and do this in a pragmatic way. Also have the opportunity to interact with people, to see people on the ground and see them collect our information. I think for this job you have to be quite pragmatic, and you have to be very open. You have to think outside the box in a way. You have to be good at placing yourself in somebody's shoes. I'm talking about databases, it sounds quite abstract, trade data, but at the end of the day, you really have to see how this information can be of use to our target user. So you have to think that what is this person going to do with this data and how is it going to help them in a very pragmatic way. I'll start with a positive. I really like my job, I must say. I've been working here for 8 years. Some people say I'm starting to become a bit of the dinosaur in the organization. I did have a bit of experience in the private sector. I was working in the pharmaceutical sector. I didn't like it that much, but I love working in this international environment, and spending half of my time building some information to then transfer and knowledge to transfer to our target constituents. So this part of the work that's very pragmatic and seeing how this information is actually getting received by constituents is most definitely the part that I love the most. And when it comes to the more difficult or challenging, we're working in an international environment, so at times you have to deal with many issues, all at once, and sometimes you might be wanting to move things very quickly, you know, and it takes a bit of time, but these things are normal, you know. You still have to find the ways in which you can do what needs to be done in one way or another. So be pragmatic again. I think the mission that had the most impact on me was the first one. I went to Chad, it must have been 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 6 years ago actually. And I remember I had never been on the field before, and for this one time I was going to meet some real people. You know, I had been working on these databases for such a long time, so I prepared myself so well, you know, and I really had prepared every single slide, every minute of my presentations, and the moment I got there, I started to realize that you really have to respond to what people need, what they want. You know, it's not about a matter of you showing off up there, the information you know, and making sure that they're not going to put you off your feet. You know, it was really interesting because within maybe 20 minutes, I saw people, I saw in their eyes, you know, they were not following me. So I took everything a step back, and everything went so much smoother from then onwards. So this first mission was really revealing for me, and from now onwards, there again, I'm really geared towards helping people. And if you don't know something, it's fine, you know, you just have to make sure that at the end of the day, they do get the most possible. Geneva by default for me is international. You know, I've been traveling a lot over the past few years, ever since my first mission in Chad. But for me, it's international. It's just, you know, a melting pot of different cultures, different religions, different languages. And to a certain extent, I really see it as a cocoon. You know, once I come back from mission, I get back to Geneva and everything is so easy. But at the same time, it's also good to get out of this cocoon and to really explore the world. If I have one advice to give, I think it would be to work hard. The feeling that I've had was that it's not always easy to enter these environments. There's a lot of competition. My plan was you work hard, you get a good degree, you work in something that you are passionate about, and one way or another you try to get through the screening mechanism, you know, of human resources, and then you get to your first interview, and then if you're passionate about your work, and you know, there are so many organizations which exist out there which actually treat with different topics. Had you asked me 15 years ago, I didn't want to work in trade. I wanted to work in disaster relief operations, you know. It's something now that's very far away, remote, but there again, I could have helped people after earthquakes. That was my strategy. Then I moved on into another field, you know, economics, but it's really try to work hard and work on something you enjoy.